We're now joined by the 2026 Southern Conference champions, the Furman Paladins. We have with us head coach Bob Ritchie, along with student athletes Cooper Bowser, Tom House, and Alex Wilkins. Coach, opening statement, then we'll have questions.
Well, first of all, just unbelievable night, and couldn't be more proud of this group. And we've had 9 teams here, and the amount of things that this group's been through and what they've gone through. I told them last week as we were prepping for this, every bit of the adversity they faced this year is going to propel them forward to have a chance to win this tournament. And man, if that didn't play out, we got off to a little bit of a slow start in the season, and went 1-3. Everybody's kind of like, what's wrong? By the way, I think all 3 of those losses, all 3 of those teams have already punched their NCAA tournament ticket. And we used that as growth. We started a freshman point guard, pretty good player, and we wanted to grow through him. And we had a lot of guys in new roles, and then all of a sudden we went 12-14, and it really got going. And then we had an injury bug that I've never been a part of really. And our team handled it great. We had to figure out creative ways to practice. We had to, I guess we did more 3-on-3 and 4-on-4 and skill and shooting than I've ever done in my life. But, as we got healthy and we reacclimated, this team never gave up. And I told her today that I wanted them to go out there and I wanted this to be the most fun 40 minutes of the year. And I wanted them to take every lesson they learned through the season and to put it on the big stage tonight and go out there and just play with the joy that you play with when you're great. And, look, we said all week, Furman's impossible to beat if we're out there having fun. And I thought you saw that this weekend. We've had the close games that we've let go in the league a little bit, lost 3 overtime games, through some of the growing pains, and then we all came together. And, all these guys, talk about Cooper tonight, in the championship game, a game I'll never forget. Just understand, a week ago, he volunteered to come out and start lineup. And you don't see that today's time. He came off and said, hey, coach, if we got to put another guard out there and we got to go single big, don't take those 2 seniors out. Let me sit out. And you know what? That's how life works. Like when you give, you get. And he gave away his starting opportunity in that Sanford game. And then we started the last 2 games through matchups. And I think he was rewarded tonight with that performance and really how he played all week. And so, look, always keep trying, always keep believing. And a lot of times adversity can make you quit trying. We lost 4 or 5 there in a little while, and we got it together. I think we finished winning 5-6, and we were our best when our best was required, and I couldn't be more proud of this group.
Questions from the room? Third row.
Justin Mathis with Daily Dose of Hoops. This is for all 3, Alex, Cooper, and Tom. Coach hit on a little bit about what y'all have been through with the injuries and everything. What does it say about this group, how you were able to band together and overcome all that and get to this moment? Cooper, you want to go first?
Being as I was injured, there was a lot of time on the sidelines just watching those guys just battle me. Sometimes there would be like 6 people and some coaches out there practicing. When House was concussed, Asa was hurt, Ed was hurt, I was hurt, Mason was hurt. We were all just in there watching practice, but just watching those guys still compete and fight. Down at Sanford with, 8 players. They were out there with freshmen, sophomores, just battling. It really motivated me to get back and be healthy. So shout out to those guys.
I'll just say this group is extremely resilient. Coach Ritchie told us that you can't cut it on the net without calluses on your hand. So just continue to work through a bunch of injuries, a bunch of losing games. I remember our first loss, Coach Ritchie said that we're going to win a lot of games. It's fine. It's going to work out. We just stayed the course. That's the biggest word. Stay the course. We just stayed the course. And we just got 1% better every day. Those practices, man, is so much different than high school. So let's continue to get better and get 1% better every day. That was the biggest thing on the season, in my opinion, what I took from all the guys and our leaders. And our leaders are amazing. Y'all did not see everything in the vaccines or in our huddles. Even today, like House guarding number 11, and him telling him he can't score. Never mind.
No, go ahead. I just think we knew collectively that it wasn't about one person. Each night we need different guys to step up. Ed's stepping up, Ace is stepping up, Coop and Chuck holding it down. So, I mean, all the way down the roster, we knew it was a whole team effort, and that's how you get these things done. It can't be one or two guys every night, and we believe that from the start.
Fourth row.
All the Transmedia Times. Alex, 1 year ago tonight, you hit a pretty important shot to win a state championship for your team at the buzzer. 365 days later, you're named the most outstanding player in the SoCon tournament. Can you dream that? How do you get from that point to this point?
Man, I feel like this story's been written. I actually lost my grandfather around this time last year, and I was just playing for him. And I really did win a state championship last year. And I had a game winner on my senior. But this story's been written, man. Coach Richie has put amazing trust in me and just let me get better through mistakes. And I don't know, man. It's just a blessing. God put his hands on my life and continues to bless me. And I'm just excited for what's in my future.
Third row.
Money Dutton, DHK Sports. I have seen an inferior version of this movie before because I've seen this team have its struggles and get things together. For what it's worth, I always thought we were going to win this tournament. There was times I didn't see how, but I just wondered, the things you face, like the shortage of people, then all of a sudden having everybody back and having to find a place in the rotation for all of them. How'd you do that?
Well, I think that's a pretty complex answer. I think, like I talked about earlier, look, hard's not always bad, it's just hard. And you gotta make a decision. And it's usually a lot of times it can destroy you. I mean, you can fold up and you can quit trying. Sometimes it can define you. I mean, this season could have been, the definition of this season could have been young team got injured. Nobody writes that story, that's not fun, right? That's just an excuse. It works. You can put that out there. People listen to it. Or you can let it develop you. And I think that's what this group chose to do. And we were getting better. You could see it. Went to Spartanburg after we had lost 4 or 5. We played really well in a sellout crowd at Wofford. And what's funny about that is that all started after we lost to ETSU at home. I think this whole thing changed when ETSU came in there and just popped us in our place. And we didn't play with any toughness. We didn't play with toughness on offense. We missed wide open shots. We didn't guard. We were just hoping it'd be easy. And that Thursday, I met with every single player in our program all day. We had no practice. I met with the seniors. I met with the leadership council. I met with the freshmen. I met with the guys that were out. And I told them, I said, listen, none of this will be defined, this team, of what's taking place. If we go change this, we're going to be defined on how we finish. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to let the adversity develop us into something that we couldn't get to without it. And we had to quit making excuses. And I think what you saw there is we always had the talent. Whether we were hurt or not, we always believed we had the talent. I think individually we were trying to find ourselves a little bit at times. And to be a great team, you got to really buy in to everybody together all the time. I mean, we hadn't done that. I mean, we came up here and this is the best we've done all season. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, the amount of poise it gives you as a coach just to see these guys, Ace and Thomas, was playing at an all conference level before he got hurt. Gets hurt, still chooses to try to play. Some people would have sat out through that. We got a lot of people in the country that have sat out through that stuff. People in our league, people all over the country, they just sit out on the same injury. But he chose not to. He chose to return. But he hadn't been able to practice. Okay, so when you can't practice, it's hard to get that rhythm. Well, tonight, he hits that huge corner 3 off that flare screen. He makes a huge play yesterday where we're down 2 and makes the 3 to take the game, to take the lead in the Greensboro game. And that's what you could really feel with this group all week. You could just feel a buy-in to each other, that they weren't going to believe in themselves, they were going to believe in us. And I thought that was on display this week. I thought you could see that in all 3 games. And every single thing that people tried to define this team on, they overcame that this weekend. We couldn't shoot free throws, right, for a while. You know, look, we shot them pretty good this weekend, right? We couldn't finish games. Well, we finished games this weekend. And all the things, right, we only had one second-team all-conference guy. Okay? So, I don't think our guys were too fond about that. But we got to do something about that. And we got to choose how we wanted to respond to all that. And, you know, look, you're gonna have people doubt you, but good Lord has a plan for us. He always did. This group stayed close. They stayed together. We won 5 of 6, and we played our best when our best was required. And that's what team does. That's what program does. And we're always gonna be about the program here. I think, you know, sometimes you get caught up in individual players, but I think what you saw took a little longer with this group, right? A little bit more youth. I've never started a freshman, and I've definitely never played 3 freshmen. And we've never been banged up that much. Took a little bit longer, but man, when it all came together, it was unbelievable just to watch it. I mean, just today. I mean, just think of all the lapses that we've had in some critical games. You know, I mean, think of all, but we took that pain and we put it into purpose. And we never had one of those lapses tonight. And in the most important game of the year, and one that they'll remember for the rest of their life, all the things they grew from are on full display.
Maybe time for a couple more, second row, and then we'll come to John.
Steve Griffin, Sports Media. Coach, last night you made a call to folks who made the trip up from Greenville. How do you think they responded?
Saw a lot of purple up there. I heard 700 tickets for students were requested. And look, again, it's about the program. And it takes a board, it takes a president. I got the best AD in the country in Jason Conley. I got my president here tonight wearing a basketball jersey, right? We've got a lot of our board here. We've got former players here. It's taken a lot of people to see this vision through. And you know, when I was an assistant here in 2011, we were giving away free food and concessions to get people to come to games. And you know, you look up there tonight, and we've got 700 students there. We got all these people in a huge game, and it's just what the program does. And I've always been a believer as a leader. You know, I'm just in charge of the program, but I've got to create something that's going to be bigger than me, bigger than us, and it will last longer than me and longer than us. And I take that very seriously. And I never want this to be about me. I never want this to be about an individual player. I always want this to be about Furman, and I always want this to be about our program. And I think that's a reflection of that. I think tonight, what you've seen is, you know, now we have people that come for the weekend up here, right? I mean, it's we've been in this championship game for the last 5 years, and now people are making a routine of it. And you know, it's pretty neat to look up there and see that many people that are here to watch us play. And man, what a performance our players put on.
John, and then we'll have one more in the back.
This question's for Cooper and Tom. You guys were here last year and you felt that loss. How much did that play into the motivation for the night?
For me personally, it played a lot in motivation. Just, I remember actually the first day we drove from the hotel to the arena against Sam, I was actually tearing up because the last thing I remember is just losing in Asheville. That bus ride just, I don't know, it's a bunch of emotions just hit me. I don't cry that much, but yeah, just like a wave of emotions hit me. I started tearing up and started crying, trying to make sure no one saw me. But yeah, I was feeling really emotional back there. But I mean, it means the world to come back here. I mean, that was motivation all off season for me. I mean, a lot of people went home. I stayed here for the whole month of May, just trying to get stronger and better. Me and Ed and Dave, it just meant the world to come out here and just flip the script this year. It means the world to me.
Yeah, I remember how hurt the seniors were last year. And I knew that if we were going to get it done, you know, we couldn't let that shit happen again. Sorry.
It's okay. You're fine.
It was just, I mean, when you play with that pain though, you see it all the time. People can accomplish great things, so that's what we did. We weren't going to let it happen.
Last one of the night.
Coach, Ben Radwall is going to be the second Paladin ever to play in 2 GSM tournaments. The other one's Jonathan Bull, not back in Penny. Can you speak to how happy you are for that guy?
Well, there's a couple people. First of all, Red Lister on staff now has a ring as a player and coach. I don't know much that's happened in the program's history. Ben Vanderwall now has 2 championships. Davis Molnar is injured. The leadership that he gave our program this year, I'm not sure we're sitting up here if he didn't lead the way he led through this injury. He's got 2 rings now. As I'm talking about that, I also do, and I'll get back to your main question on Ben, I do want to point out our staff. Our staff was tremendous this year, and we had a lot of new faces. We had some new staff members, and this chemistry that we had, their ability to execute game plans, put games plan together, their buy-in to our program. We just had an incredible year with our staff, and couldn't have been here without them. So I want to make sure I thank those guys. Tom House, he just spoke. Tom was out. His tournament here was unreal, and the boys out there playing defense and hitting floaters. You know it was on. Okay. But he made a decision 5 or 6 games ago that he wanted to write a different story, and to see him play with the belief that he played with another guy that y'all probably aren't going to ask me about, but Ed Bronson. I think tonight, if I'm not mistaken, plus 21. And I've given a hard time last week. Every time I looked up, we had 2 really intense practices on Wednesday and Thursday. And every time I looked back, he was sitting down in the student section getting off the bike. But I never saw him on the bike. I just saw him sitting in the student section. I said, man, what, are you just going to cheer all practice? Like you just hanging out back there? But I tell you what, he was getting his mind right. And he wasn't able to practice. But we made a decision to adjust our start lineup to get another attacker on the floor and to get one less big man on the floor and open up some space. And the way he played, those 2 free throws he hit last night up to, we've all had basketball in these last couple days. How many key free throws have been missed in these situations? He goes up there, and if you make one, it's still a 1-possession game, makes both of them. His defense was incredible. He gave us a secondary handler so they don't have to sit here and pressure this guy all game. And he was phenomenal. But getting back to Ben, look, I told Ben last week as we were prepping for this, every time we had some adversity the last couple of years, it was always blamed on him. Because, people were sagging off of him and not guarding him. But he wasn't going to let that define him either, right? He's not going to be defined by a guy that can't make free throws. He's not going to be defined by a guy that can't make threes. He's going to be defined that he's a warrior. And he's going to lay it down on the line every single night. And he's a winner. And he's won 92 games and counting here. And he's been a part of one of the greatest runs in program history here. And his name is etched in that. And it's just another lesson, right? Like, he came off the bench the last 2 games. He didn't say anything about it. And that's what it takes to be at this point. And I told Ben, I said, look, you're not taking the blame this year. You're top 3 in plus minus on this team, and you're going to be a huge part of this. And I love Ben to death. He's always been all Furman. You don't see many. I think the SEC had one senior night with a person that went to school there for 4 years. If I'm not mistaken, I think I saw that. He stayed here. He was here 4 years. He was playing 3 championship games, and he leaves with 2 rings. What a story.
Coach, we'll end on that one. Congratulations to you and your players. Enjoy March Madness.